Yes! That's awesome! Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. I know it's a spoiler-free episode, but it was too damn good not to just give you a taste up front of the excitement that was coursing through my veins the entire episode. That piece, that could have been from the beginning, that could have been from the middle, that could have been from the end. I'm not going to tell you where, you'll find out in the spoiler review. But the level of excitement and of the energy that this episode gives you and the things that get you excited, it's literally through the whole episode. I mean, this thing is absolute pure perfection. We've seen this show operate on what I thought was all cylinders, but now know that it was only on almost all cylinders, because when this show is clicking on all cylinders, holy cow, man, is it something special. And it might not be as new and fresh and creative as WandaVision. It may be a little bit more in that Marvel wheelhouse, but the way they decided to tell this story and how and the things that they make important are what make this show special. And the finale, pure perfection. So I ain't pull up a chair, take a seat, we're getting ready to dive in, spoiler free, into the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 6, One World, One People. Oh man, dude, like, I'm never shocked when Marvel pulls it off, because Marvel always pulls it off. We know Kevin Feige and the teams that he builds and creates for each individual property, and then his team just in general that he has. Like, they've been doing this for, a long time, man. Like, more than a decade worth. Like, they know what they're doing. But man, am I always surprised by how they accomplish it. And I mean, even with this episode does everything that this show has been doing all season long, man. It delivers just in bigger ways on all of it, whether it's the action, whether it's the conversation on being black in America, whether it's, the concept of how politics, can really screw with certain people and turn good people bad. Like all of those things that they've got working with them, man, they just execute it on a level like you haven't seen yet this season. And it is, like, the build up to this episode was perfect. It was perfect. And I know at the beginning of the season, I was like, I want this to feel more like a mini series, like where every episode you get that full satisfaction. And, for me, both this and WandaVision, when you look at them as a whole, they feel like long movies more than a mini-series. But that's not necessarily bad, right? Like, when you only have 6 episodes, I just want everything you can give me. And even last week, by the time we got to the end of last week, coming into this episode, I was like, I don't know how they wrap all this up in one episode. And not only that, it's not even like a full hour. It's not a 90-minute episode. It's the same length that we've seen all season long from all these episodes. And if I'm honest, it might have been even a little bit shorter than last week. Like, it is crazy in the limited time that we get how they pull everything off and how satisfied I feel as a fan. Like, this is the ultimate satisfaction episode. It hits pretty much everything you want. There's still one thing looming out there that I want that surrounds this general Captain America world and story that exists in the MCU. There's still one thing I'm waiting to happen. And, I mean, like, there's part of me that's, like, not mad that we haven't gotten it yet, because, like, it just means you gotta keep that in play for a little bit longer, which is a good thing. But, like, damn it, I hope we were gonna see it. But the one thing that we didn't see pales in comparison to the things that we do see. Oh my gosh, what a wonderful conclusion to Sam's story. Like, it really is an insanely perfect arc for that character and how that character goes from point A to point B. Like, where he ends up, the show did all the work. It did all the work to get you to Sam's payoff. And I won't say nothing, but like everything in this episode, oh, it's so damn good. And Anthony Mackie, I mean, my dude, just he got me up out my seat multiple times this episode. He made me cry this episode. Oh yeah, there were some tears rolling this week. In the spoiler review, you were gonna see some tears fall off this guy's face right here, because the writing around Sam and just the writing in the show in general has been so superb, man. Like, the arc that they give him, where he ends up, and all the payoffs to that arc, the most satisfying stuff you get in the show. And it's meant to be that way. Like, I know this is Sam and Bucky's show, and it's kind of like, you know, Marvel's Lethal Weapon. You got the buddy cop, you know, idea going, and the show functions quite well in there. And they certainly do develop Bucky a lot more than he's gotten previously. But I mean, this is Sam's show. You know what I mean? Like, this, at least this season. And I say this season because this was put into for the Emmys as a drama, not a limited series, and it certainly feels like a show that easily could bring back a season 2. I mean, where we leave off with certain people, like I said it last week, what they set up last week, just in that little bit that we got for John Walker, like, keeps it in play if you want to go forward in a second season, and you can kind of find another story that can pull in pretty much everybody that's in the show back. You know what I mean? And that's something really, really cool about the show. But like I said, this has been a journey that has been Sam and Bucky's, but certainly a little bit more Sam's. Now, on the flip side, the Bucky stuff, we get all the satisfaction and the payoffs that we want for that character too. And while he doesn't, get monologues the way that Sam does, Sam has one of the best written monologues I have ever seen in anything Marvel has done. I sat here in awe as he delivered that. Bucky doesn't get monologues, but what Sebastian Stan does, like the little things, man, like those minute details, the nuanced bits of acting that he delivers, and as I've said all season, this right here, man, what he does with his face just tells so much more than what you could put onto a page. And everything that Stan does in this show and everything that he does in this episode furthers that along. Bucky is a lead by how I do. You know what I mean? Like, you get his story through what he goes through, not what he talks about, what he lets spill out, but you get to see his emotions and how things are affecting him and how he's resolving things all in his face. And that is unbelievable. Like, Anthony Mackie can deliver a monologue and fight choreography. Oh, fight choreography. Like, he can do all that. And, same with Bucky. He certainly can deliver on the fight choreography. I mean, Sebastian Stan's been doing that maybe even a little bit longer than Anthony Mackie. He's no stranger to that. But he doesn't need monologues. He doesn't need to express himself verbally. Everything that's going on with that character, like I said, Stan just holds right in here, and his delivery of this episode is fantastic. Like I said, the payoffs that we get for him, really good, and again, really earned. Everything we get in this show is earned. I mean, Sam talks about that. You got to do the work, and the show does the work and sets both of these characters up for fantastic payoffs and a team up that you just, like, I want more, man. I need more. But I think some of my favorite stuff from Stan is the back and forths with him and Mackie that aren't like monologues. You know what I mean? Like, just the little moments there's a moment where, like, Stan is seeing what's going on, and he walks up to Bucky and just kind of like does something, just like a little pat on the shoulder, and that moment in itself is just so expertly delivered. That both of these guys, man. I mean, like I said, you got the guy who's utilizing the worded part of the scripts and really elevating it in Mackie, and then just all the nuance that Stan has in his arsenal is just on display. And when you put that all together, you really, really come up with a fantastic team, and ultimately what's a great story for both of these guys. But the show isn't just about these two guys, man. We get wonderful stuff for everybody else that's in the episode. I mean, everybody pretty much gets a payoff, and what we get from John Walker, this week, I dig what they do and how they get to where they get with him. And Wyatt Russell just continues to make me happy as someone watching an actor do really, really good work. I mean, it's not easy to make someone hate you so damn much, but Wyatt Russell has made the world hate him so damn much. And to see what they do with the character and the kind of payoffs they give him, much like I said last week, as soon as the Contessa walked in, you were like, oh, John Walker's still in play. And I'm super interested to see where his story goes next. I really liked where they got him to by the end of the episode and what's set up and what's ahead for hopefully more Wyatt Russell, man. Like, he's been really, really good all year, and I hope that we get to see him come back and in some capacity and do more. And it certainly feels like that is something that's on the way. Then, of course, you got Carly and the Flag Smashers, and this is probably the area of the episode that must have been the hardest needle to thread, because Carly is a very complex character, and it's a complex character that Sam understands. We've seen him try to level with her, and it puts her in a light where we can understand where she's coming from. So to get where they get to with that character is a really tightrope kind of walk, They can fall either way, and the balancing act that they do with the Flag Smashers and how that story concludes and how that conclusion impacts the story moving forward was just perfect. Like, it was perfect. Everything that you needed to do in that situation, they did, and did it in ways that made sense for everybody that was involved, and just hammers home all the emotions of this entire show. Like the Flag Smasher, and specifically Carly arc, it really drives home one of the major things that the show has been tackling. And the way that they do it and the way that they execute that resolution was really, really good. And Erin Kellyman, I tell you, man, I can't wait to see her do more things. She is really talented. And again, much like Stan, in here, man, like the little things that she does with her face, she gets some excellent facial acting points this week, man. She must have taken some notes from Sebastian Stan. But I really look forward to Kellyman's career. I think there could be something special there, because she was excellent as Carly Morgenthau. And like I said, that arc, along with the whole Flag Smasher arc, paid off in the ways that it needs to as a viewer. And it's more complicated and intricate than you think it could be. And the way that they built it, that ending should be intricate, and they handled it geniusly. Then we got Sharon Carter. She's kind of out there doing stuff in the world. We maybe saw a little bit of a slip up because of the subtitles last week, knowing that she's involved with Batroc, kind of confirming right then some things that we may be thinking about her. And we do get resolution to her story as well. And I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with it. Emily Van Camp, while not utilized a ton here, certainly feels like there's a lot of meat still on that bone for Sharon Carter to chew on. And I'm interested to see how they use Sharon Carter going forward. And I'll be interested to see if any of the folks from this show spill over into Secret Invasion, maybe, at all. Knowing that that's the Nick Fury show. Granted, I think most of us think that's going to take place in space, or at least a good chunk of it, and it'll probably involve Monica more than somebody from this show. But, just being that, Nick Fury has these ties to some of these characters, I'll be interested if they spill over at all. Like, I'm just interested to see what they do with this cast, right? Because there's no specific movie that this show is building to the way that Wanda is building this home, right? Like, we know we're going to get Wanda in the Multiverse of Madness. We don't know the next time we're going to see Sam and Buck. So I'll be interested to see, specifically Sharon Carter. Sharon is somebody who could spill over into that show. I don't necessarily know how yet, but it's the where we leave off with her. Like, you could go that route and see how that continues to pull her story out. And then So, I mean, good stuff for Emily Van Camp. I like anytime she pops up as Agent Carter. Not a ton, but she has some important moments in this episode, important moments that certainly further that character development. And then lastly, we got Baron Zemo. And, he's at the raft. That is where we left him last week. And, they find a way to kind of, find some sort of conclusion for that character as well. I'm fascinated with what they can do with Zemo. It feels like, much like Sharon, there's a lot of meat on that bone still, and I'll be interested to see how and where they kind of weave him into the world. But Daniel Bruhl, all season long, was spectacular. I look forward to seeing him involved more in whatever stories they tell, and that's, I think, the hardest thing to figure out coming out of this series is, what is the next step? What is the next piece for this group in particular? Is it going to be a season 2? I certainly think they could do a season 2, and they could do a season 2 where you could literally bring back that entire cast. Do they set up things for movies? Or where are they going to play? It's the one property that we don't really have a full set, this is where we are. So I'll be interested to see, if they pull these guys into, the 3 categories. You've got science, magic, and space. It would seem like these guys should probably be involved in the science end of things. If you were going to interject them, I mean, you could interject them into any of them, but of the 3 that they're building on, it would see maybe that route, if there are 3 clear... It feels like Marvel is setting up 3 clear routes that are going to, for me, lead to MODOK, Galactus, and either, Chthon or Mephisto. In some realm in the magic, it'll probably come down to one of those 2, surrounded around that Wanda story, because that's kind of all circling there. But of those 3... obviously, these guys should be involved in all 3, but if you're kind of segmenting into 3 potential different storylines kind of functioning, it seems like maybe these guys will be better served in the science route, super soldiers, things of that nature. So I'll be interested to see, like I said, where we end up with this group going forward, because we don't know. But for this individual season, it's so good. Kevin Feige has come out the gate in the world of television and knocked out not 1, not just 2 home runs. My dude has hit 2 grand slams at this point, man. He is putting in the most runs you can put in with 1 swing of the bat, man. He's throwing 100-yard touchdowns out here. And it's cool to see them be inventive and do something new with WandaVision, and then just crush that standard Marvel type feel, but do stuff that you haven't seen Marvel do before, like the conversations and the writing. It's some of the best we've gotten in any Marvel show, and that's really the thing that elevates this. The action is mind-blowing, and like I said, we were building to spectacular. We were expecting spectacular, and we get spectacular in this episode. And, from the hand-to-hand to just the visual effects stuff, the action is superb, but Marvel has always crushed the action. And they've always crushed the writing, but not like this. This was a different level of storytelling for me. And just because of what they were taking on and how eloquent and sophisticated tackling that subject matter inside of this show was. It's just so impressive. And I could clearly talk about this show for hours on hours and hours, even if I'm not talking spoilers, because... damn it, it's just so good. And I hope they get a season 2. I hope that little Emmy drama, selection, rather than being put in as a miniseries, means more seasons, because what you could do for the characters here on TV, man, you could build out a lot of stuff that could eventually lead into the movies and allow you to do whatever you gotta do on the big screen while you're building to what these characters could do on the big screen. That's the thing I think I get most excited about, is seeing what they did with these guys on the small screen makes me only wonder what they're going to do when they come back to the big screen. But The Falcon and the Winter Soldier Season 1 is a massive success. Across the board, everybody involved, but specifically Mackie and Stan. I love the character development that Sam and Bucky get. I love where these two characters end up, and I'm just really super interested to see what they've got moving forward, because you've got two guys that just acted their asses off for 6 episodes and, a few hours where it's like, let them lead movies now. Like, let them lead movies. They are good enough to do it. And I think the baton passing, from those first 3 phases to whatever is going forward is starting to happen. And I'm liking the people that are rising to the top of the crew to kind of take, not the place of, but be what Tony and Cap were. You need those characters to be at that level to keep moving things forward, and the building they do here certainly sets them up for that kind of success. So I loved this episode, and I absolutely loved the series start to finish. What a fantastic ride it was. I can't wait for more. The question is, what are you thinking? If you have not watched the episode, you're welcome for spoiler-free stuff. But let me know what you're looking forward to. What kind of things did I touch on that aren't spoilery, but things that you're looking forward to? The conclusion of Sam's arc and Bucky's arc, and what elements of the storytelling do you hope to see kind of wrapped up? And where do you hope things go in the finale? If you're throwing out a hypothetical, it's not a spoiler. So let me know what you're thinking about heading into this episode. And of course, if you've watched, don't spoil for those folks that haven't, but how much did you freaking love this episode? I mean, normally, it's like put your good, bad, indifferent. If you have bad or indifferent, today, I don't want to hear from you, because I don't even know how you could say anything bad or indifferent about this show. So, if you're one of those people, I like to include everybody, but this week, kick rocks. Kick rocks. I want to hear all the positivity today, man. What did you love? Like I said, no spoilers, but was it Sam's payoff? Was it Bucky's payoff? What did it get you out of your chair? Did you cheer? Did you jump? Did you cry? I mean, like I said, I rolled some tears, man. The writing of this show is so damn good. It got me right here, and that's what it's supposed to do. So if it was doing that for you, did you dig the writing, the action? What are you thinking? Give me all your good thoughts down below in the comments section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old Seaman to see maybe what the future holds for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or these characters, or just anything. I mean, we got a big-ass Friday in front of us. We got spoilers to talk on this episode. We got Mortal Kombat. We got Shadow and Bone. Oh, there's so much going on today. And if you want to be here for all of it and you haven't, you want to show a little love support to this old crazy-looking guy, jump over there, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the Seaman's Cinema, sit down. I've been the Seaman. I'm signing off. Peace.
Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.